Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Cardano's ADA, reviewing what's been going on most recently and what I think is likely to happen next. Now as I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, linked in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out. Let's jump right down into the video. So here we have Cardano's ADA paired up with USDT. We are on the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 spot exchange 1 hour time frame, and yeah, we've seen some interesting moves. So we were thinking that this was a WXY, X and Z a little bit higher. I think they were talking about that last week. But actually it looks more like a double zigzag pattern, so actually I should mark it up as WXY to be fair. We'll keep it as accurate as we can for today. There we go. And so we then started to see this break to the downside, and there's a few interesting things here. We do have a fair value gap that was created. You can see that in this little red area here. This fair value gap essentially symbolizes the institutional level market or smart money kind of move in the market. Okay, so they dropped a load on the market, and basically there wasn't enough buying within this particular gap between 32.0 and 32.3 cent, that basically the price has to go down and just drops down rapidly, leaving the gap behind. The gap then is something that we normally would expect price to kind of go back to and fill, put liquidity where liquidity was not, that kind of stuff. We talk about this all the time in the Smart Money Concept course, which guys, if you haven't already checked out, membership.cheekycrypto.io, do urge you guys to check it out. You obviously have exclusive video content there. You obviously have all the courses, Elliott Wave Theory, Smart Money Concepts, risk management, portfolio building, all the articles, everything from project reviews, airdrops and things like that to data. And actually, you know, while we're here, we'll go ahead and check out the Cardano data. So this is Cardano specific data. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see exactly what is going on. So we'll make that a little bit bigger there. And so whilst we're here, we might as well just quickly talk through this, right? This is the overview of the data, so you can see the all-time high, the number of days since it's been since its all-time high, the percentage down from all-time high, 89.844%, when I pulled the data last, and you can see here the gas fees in ADA is 0.35 on average, so it's not even 1 ADA for a transaction. The average transaction value is $41,000, so think of it this way: it costs 0.35 of an ADA to move $41,600 in a transaction, which is kind of yeah, quite cool to see. You can see that in ADA, the total amount of fees paid were 24,977 ADA, or as you'd like to look at that in fees, $7,919. Now, really important thing to note here is it was $7,919 for 69,413 transactions. Really kind of cool numbers, some really good stuff there if you think about the breakdown of that, how much it costs for Ethereum for X amount of transactions versus how much it costs Bitcoin for X amount of transactions. And here you can see that Cardano, for the number of transactions on this smart contract platform, $7,919, 69,000 transactions. Very, very nice. The active addresses in the last 24 hours were 45,000 out of the total 4.4 million addresses. Market cap 11 billion, but again, market cap doesn't really mean anything. It's essentially the current price multiplied by the circulating supply of 35 billion. Moving over into the liquidations tabs, this just shows you how much was liquidated in leverage positions for Cardano's ADA. Now, Binance takes the top spot. This is not a surprise for us, as Binance is a very big player when it comes to leverage positions on certain projects like Cardano. So we can see it's $252,000 of liquidations. It's not a lot. Again, we can see here that Binance was the top spot with $180,000 of liquidations, of which 69% were long positions and 30.5% were the short positions that were liquidated. Binance was, pretty decent amount, so 71% of all liquidations were Binance, then Bybit at 23%, then OKX at 3%, and so forth. It whittles its way down from there. Moving over, though, this is where we can track the wallets and how much ADA is in a wallet. We then bucket those wallets together into brackets, right? We take a look at whether a wallet has more than 1,000, more than 100,000, more than 10,000, more than 1,000, more than 100, and so forth, right? And depending depending on how much ADA is in a wallet, kind of makes you behave in a certain way. We like to think of these things as like high net worth individuals will behave in a certain way to protect their high net worth. And then you have retail investors, which will all act in a very similar way around emotional reactions to the market and price action, right? And so when we track wallets like this, we can see the power that sometimes you see within certain buckets where institutional whales, for example, that have over 1 million ADA, they might all of a sudden start selling, right? And that's because institutions and big players like that will all behave in a very similar way versus that of the people who maybe have 1,000 ADA, and they'll also behave more in an emotional way. Okay, they'll kind of follow the price action and overreact to it, right? And so when we track these things, we see some interesting developments, right? So there are 2,796 wallets that have over 1 million ADA in them, and we can see that actually over the 365-day period, they're down 2.65%, right? But over the last 7 days, they're actually up 0.25%. Over the last 30 days, 1.27%, right? So they're fluctuating a little bit. They've been selling, and you can kind of see here the light blue line are the wallets, and the dark blue line is the price action, right? So you can see here that they were starting to sell as price was going up, right? We hit the all-time high, and then they start aggressively selling on the way down as well, right? So you know that these wallets were much, much higher. If you take a look over here, there were over 5,800 of these wallets back in 2017, right? And they aggressively came out of their positions and started to accumulate back in 2019. We were down as low as 3,200 wallets. Right now we are lower than we were previously, but you can kind of see this. And so these wallets are quite interesting. As we come down into the 100,000 ADA or more, we can see some interesting things as well, interesting developments, right? We can see that the number of wallets were increasing during 2020, which is obvious, until we kind of get up into March of 2021. That's when a lot of selling pressure starts to occur as we go up into the all-time high and continues to sell. They've been accumulating down at the bottom here, and it's actually up 4.89% in the last 365 days. It is actually reasonably flat though over the last 90 days, and 180 days is only 2.68%. So we know that essentially these wallets have been accumulating, but they are more flat over recently. They're not selling, they're not really buying, and it's an interesting thing to kind of note because a lot of people were thinking, we're in a bullish market and all that kind of stuff, and for the most part, I think it's possible, but we haven't seen enough accumulation. You've got to bear in mind these wallets were up high, up towards the 31,344 wallets. We're currently rocking 24,409. Going down to the 10,000 or more ADA per wallet, where we see that this is starting to enter into the world of retail investors, or high net worth individuals and so forth, right? Although high net worth individuals tend to be more towards the 100K. There's more retail investors, right? 180,000 wallets, and they're actually up 20.69% in the last 365 days, which means that we are seeing selling pressure from some of these wallet sizes, so the larger sizes, as they decrease from those higher positions into those lower positions, and we see the retail investors accumulating. This is pretty a similar story that you see with most ecosystems. Bitcoin is an example that large players are selling into kind of the liquidity, which is the buyers, and the buyers happen to be retail investors. Now these are still good signs. The large wallets are holding up quite nicely over the 365-day period, and retail investors are still buying. We see total value locked on Cardano, which I will bring into our data here soon, and we'll be taking a look at what kind of value ADA has locked up, which is growing quite rapidly, along with the dApps and things that are being built on the ecosystem. I think we've got a recipe here for some real good success in the future. So guys, if you haven't already checked out the membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪crypto.io website, it is linked in the description below. We are offering a 7-day free trial to get access to this data. So just choose a plan that suits you guys. Now, if you go for the mega pack, this one here, this actually includes the on-chain data, such as we were just looking at, whereas these ones up here do not. You can have a 7 days free trial. Just make sure you cancel that if you don't want to continue. But for the most part, you'll be able to take a look at that data every single day, as well as all of the other fantastic things that we have to offer our members. So well worth checking it out if you haven't already, or you've been thinking about it, but you're not quite certain about what to kind of have a look at and whether or not it's worth it. Well, you can try it out for 7 days completely free of charge. Obviously, it will automatically charge you after that 7-day period for whatever plan that you choose to take it out. So if you don't want to continue, you will obviously have to cancel that as well. But just bear that in mind. But I thought it was a fantastic way to kind of give everyone a bit of a taste of the kind of the things that we have to offer for our members. So why not check it out? 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗚𝗀𝗀𝗧𝗏, or more specifically, membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗚𝗀𝗀𝗧, linked in the description below. Let's jump back down into the charts. So a little bit of a derail there, because that wasn't my plan to talk about Cardano's on-chain data, but the opportunity was there, so I took it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, right? So we can see that we're moving down a little bit here for Cardano. We can see that we had this structure, we had the fair value gap. The fair value gap is something that we would potentially be thinking about targeting and move up towards. But I'm more interested in knowing whether or not this is a 5-wave structured pattern to the downside with a diagonal at the end. So that's what I want to kind of figure out. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to measure this distance here. Is this a leading diagonal at the beginning? And I'll take it from here. And does it meet the 1.618? It does meet the 1.618. That's interesting. Okay, cool. So in which case we have 1, 2, and I'm going to either put this here or here. I think here makes the most amount of sense. Up and then diagonal. And so this diagonal move is made up, yeah, right inside here. It's a, let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It would be a contracting, I think. Let's go ahead and just see which one it would fall into. Or it could be expanding, then could be expanding. No, it can't be expanding. Okay, that's cool. We'll go ahead and check from down here to here. It's not really contracting either, so let's go ahead and do some sense checks on it. Okay, let's see. Grab our fibs, run the fibs up to here and down to here. So it doesn't really meet those requirements of a diagonal, which is quite interesting. And if I missed anything within that pattern, let's see. Let me see. The only other way I could potentially see it is that we haven't started where we've started here, and actually that is our wave 3. That's our wave 4, and then down here is our wave 5, and in which case then you get the expansion, and it would look like this: 1, 2, 3, up for 4, down to 5. And we'll do again, we want to do our sense checks. This one would be a little different. We wouldn't have to hit 1.618, which we don't, but we do have to reach higher than 1 to 1, which we do. Okay, and then I need to check the wave 3 against the wave 5. And we'll just check that, see if it is just marginally getting it. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Okay, cool. So therefore, that allows us to have that 5-wave pattern there with a diagonal ending structure and a diagonal at the beginning. Moving up here, it looks like this is a 3-wave pattern to the top. Coming down here, we've already... Oh, we got close to an overlap, but not quite. Be interesting. So let's go ahead and throw that in there. That's 31.5113, and this wicked up to a high of 31.5109. So didn't create an overlap there. That overlap's quite important because it looks to me like a 5-wave drop here. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is not allowed to cross wave 1 and down into the 5th. Now, if that does that structure, then it means that we're probably going to be already moving downwards. And we'd have to move significantly down. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think we are going to break higher than that. So 31.5113 is going to be the invalidation of this structure. I think essentially here what I'm thinking is that we're targeting out the fair value gap, and it's going to be a 3-wave pattern. That's kind of where my mind is at. I don't think we're going to have a 5-wave drop there. It wouldn't be right to see it right there, I don't think. So I think personally we're going to push up higher, and we should be targeting out right here between our 1 and our 1.236. So we'll be looking at 32.2819 to 32.5914. Okay, that there would be our C structure ending position. So I reckon we would go A, B, and C, fill out the fair value gap. Then from here we'd have a 5-wave drop. So I'm expecting a 5-wave drop, but I just don't think it's going to happen right now where it is. I think it has to happen a little bit higher in the price chart. Okay, so that's kind of where I think that one's land. I think that's where that's going to potentially be, at least on our hourly chart. Okay, so keeping an eye on that one. We'll see how that one plays out. I'll review it again in a couple of days, and we'll see how that plays out. And for the most part, still targeting out down here. This hasn't changed. We're still talking about going to the 15.27 to the 18.13 cent range. And so, yeah, so that's essentially still in play on our daily time frame. So, yeah, there's going to be some turbulence in places, I think. But for the most part, yeah, I still expect cheaper prices on Cardano ADA. I'm going to leave the video there, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you found it useful, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Don't forget to join us down in Discord, linked in the description below. And why not check out membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗧𝗏 as well if you're looking to get access to some of the fantastic things that we offer for our members. Guys, until the next one, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.